Hi, my name is Greg Huffman. I'm the CEO of Nuclear Fuels Incorporated. We're a uranium exploration company focused in ISR mineable projects in the United States, with our flagship project located in the state of Wyoming on the western Powder River Basin.
Good to see you. Welcome to London, I should say. You're in my neck of the woods now. You're here at the WNA conference. How's it going downstairs?
Yeah, it's been a really good conference so far. It's been a few years since I've attended WNA, so it's good to be back. And yeah, very good tone out there.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time since most people have been here because it's been a bit quiet out there. But 750 plus people downstairs. Super excited. I mean, the tone is positive, right?
Yeah, it was this morning's presentation were very interesting. I was able to sit in the welcome and keynote this morning and standing room only. It was, they've shut down registrations. It's a very good vibe. I'd say a very diverse audience from a background perspective, with lots of fuel buyers, obviously, lots of industry people from the nuclear side of things, but then lots in the earlier stage. So, uranium exploration and development, some emerging producers, which are getting a lot of airtime and being featured in some of the presentations, as well as everyone throughout the rest of the cycle. So it's, from conversion to enrichment to fuel fabrication, right through to the utilities. So it's a really good cross-section.
It's a very good cross-section, but it's also very different from other conferences where it's just like, explorers trying to sell their wares. This is like the whole sector, the whole industry coming together. And that's why when I talk about tone and everyone in the industry is excited, that's very indicative of how the momentum in this story, this thematic, I feel.
Yeah, and definitely there's a groundswell of excitement towards the space, and really, I think, even relative to last year's WNA, with the COP conference coming through, a massive support of overall nuclear power and a growth in the sector. Really now people are saying, okay, so there's a lot of political momentum. How do we translate that momentum into actual execution in terms of bringing more nuclear power online? So it's a really good and exciting, but obviously a call to arms a little bit in terms of making sure that the sector's all aligned and we're all working towards the same goal.
Well, we've seen that recently here. The UK government, the new UK government, the Labour government, the 40 years of anti-nuclear government, just made available £5.5 billion sterling, real money, for Sizewell, I think C possibly, project. Last year, that was not the language even. It was like, it was politic from the previous government going, yes, we really, we're encouraged by what we see and we support it, etc. Putting your money where your mouth is, that's what we want to see a bit more of. Right, you're here to get something out of it too. You're not just saying this for fun. So what are you hoping to do?
Yeah, so really, we're I've been on the job for now just over 2 months. And really, we're still in that very much the name awareness. We're trying to get the nuclear fuels story out there to the investing public, to other people in the sector, some of the larger producers, some of the other development stage companies. Basically, it's a company that wasn't very well known previously, and so really we've been quite active over the course of the last 2 months in two main focuses: getting familiar with the project, the team, and spending a lot of time on site, and then meeting with as many investors as possible. So we've been very busy summer for us over in North America.
Yeah, you've got a few people standing behind you, which kind of maybe makes it easier to open a few doors, I suspect.
Absolutely. So the Encore Energy team has been fantastic to work with. Obviously, they're our largest shareholder at 18.3%. Bill Sheriff is our chairman. He's also chairman of Encore as well. But beyond Bill, there's a huge technical team that's at Encore that successfully put two ISR operations into production in Texas, making them the only 2-asset uranium producer in the U.S. And that team is fantastic from an information perspective. We're able to lean on them from technical capabilities. If we have questions about what's going on, or if there's geology, or as we advance towards well field delineation and development, those are all things that we can lean on the Encore group. So it's phenomenal to have them in the background. Yeah,
you're starting ahead of the pack in that regard for sure. Now tell us what you've been up to. But a bit of drilling's been going on, or a lot of drilling's been going on.
Yes.
So tell me about it.
So I guess since we last spoke, one of the key things was we did close our financing. That was basically so I could get a position in the company, become well aligned with the existing shareholders. So only myself, and then Encore did exercise their right to maintain their 18.3%. So we closed that financing in early August. that allowed us to really sort of unleash the news flow. So we did have some drill results just recently about the program that was completed prior to the end of June. So we were able to, and that was again, done under previous management, but really did an excellent job of confirming and extending some of the historical mineralization at two of our zones, the Saddle and the Spur area. Those programs were a little bit limited in terms of the size and scope, simply because of the permitted area that was available to them. However, since then, we've been able to go out and receive a very much expanded drill notification permit area, which takes our ground available for drill testing from 7.5 square miles to over 200 square miles. So we're really unleashing the more regional program now, continuing to follow up on historical mineralization and try to extend those zones, but also drilling for new discoveries, which is really the exciting part. And one of the real key reasons why I'm so excited about the KC is the prospect for new greenfields uranium discoveries that are ISR amenable.
Well, discovery is the word. That's the key word that it seems to get valued in the market. You make a discovery, and a good discovery, you get rewarded for that. And I guess with Bill's chairman and Encore sitting behind you, there's a sort of template, or there's certainly some guidelines which may help, the technical team, which may help to do things the right way. That isn't necessarily always what the market wants to see, but is there a way that you guys want to do things which maybe do you feel contrary or better than perhaps what you're seeing else?
I think one of the real key things for us is the sheer volume of historical work that's been done on the project. Now, this is work that's almost 50 years old now in a lot of cases, and now we've been spending a lot of time taking that historical data, bringing it into our GIS platform, and able to use that to help target and expand our drill program based on that information. It's really been a phenomenal guide and has increased our hit rate quite materially over the course of the current program. So that's very exciting. In addition, we're about to, as I mentioned, step out and start testing some of the regional targets that have not been explored previously for uranium mineralization. However, there's historical energy related drilling that provides some good indications that there's the right geology. And again, we're in the western part of the Powder River Basin. There's a number of past producing ISR uranium operations, some of which are currently being restarted, which we have very similar geology to those, and so we know exactly what we're looking for in terms of new discoveries, and now we're just about to kick off that program.
Right, and just in terms of that template thing, and I'm sorry to stick with this, I've got a fascination with business models. I think the decision making by management teams can make or break companies. Right, there's a lot of peer data starting to come out there in terms of what they want to do. They've got their 5 million, the 10 million, and let's get into production, guys, type companies out there. There are others that perhaps, wanting to do something bigger and show and demonstrate that they've got something of scale. How do you view playing the market with what you've got? Again, I'll harp back to the Encore component here. They've done it. They got into production. There's a very good example of how you do things. But for you, for the asset you've got, the time frame that you believe you've got to operate in, given markets fluctuations, I mean, how do you view things?
Yeah, we're really, it's a bit of a dual focus in terms of the current program right now at KC. We're looking at expanding and confirming and expanding the historical resources that were defined back in the late 70s and early 80s. But really that greenfields aspect, one of our targets is that trigger for the 15 million pound 43101 compliant resource, which would allow for Encore to exercise their right to back in for 51% interest in the project. For us, that's really a success scenario. We would love to be able to achieve that because under that scenario, they carry our 49% interest to production. So there's no incremental dilution for shareholders from that perspective, in addition to paying us 2.5 times our exploration expenditures to date, which obviously would set us very well for ongoing exploration on our other properties. And again, we're continuing to look to expand the portfolio, solely focused on ISR uranium projects in the U.S., but definitely want to expand that beyond what we currently have.
So that's a really nice structure that you come up with there. So one, that kind of back end means that you've got that in your back pocket. That's off and running. You're carried through to what point did you say?
Yeah, they would carry our 49% interest, so through to production.
Wowzers. Okay, amazing. So that's in your back pocket. There's their number that you can put out. Well, people do their own numbers, but you can work at some kind of valuation on that one. And then the 2.5 times expiration budget to that point, which should then help you with your exploration elsewhere, expansion elsewhere.
Absolutely.
That's a phenomenal little.
Exactly. It's a phenomenal structure from that perspective,
smart.
which will help keep us financed in terms of the. So that's why we're very active on the third front in terms of evaluating other potential acquisitions to bring into the property portfolio. So there's some very good stuff that we're looking at. We're hoping to have some news on that over the coming months.
Right. So that's already in the bag now. So the structure of the beginning is really important. I always say that the beginning is when you want to be doing those sorts of negotiations. In terms of what you're seeing in the marketplace and maybe even some of the conversations and feedback that you're getting from these funds that you may be interacting with or updating, what do they think you should be doing in terms? Everyone's got an opinion. What do they think you should be doing and how you should be doing it?
Yeah, it's interesting because really to date we've done many meetings with institutional investors as well as high net worth as well as with wealth management and retail, and to be honest, it's been an education process. I'd say almost all of them, it's their first time hearing the story. It's a brand new name for them, so really it's about educating. Most of which know Encore, but they didn't know the nuclear fuels existed as a company within the broader Encore group that's focused on earlier stage exploration. So really we're resetting that Lassonde curve back to that high torque new greenfields discovery part, but with a great team and financing structure in the background. So we're very excited on to move forward on that aspect of the company. And really it's been a bit of 2 months of getting things lined up, and now we're really in a position to start releasing drill results here over the coming weeks as we head into conference season. This is the kickoff of that conference season with a number of press releases in terms of updates from the drilling programs that have gone on. We also have an update to our 43-101 report, which we're really excited about, that will come out, that we think provides really good context on the KC project overall.
This side of Christmas?
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah. So
cool.
we'll have that'll be for the analyst community particularly, give them a lot more incremental information on the projects.
And so how many drills have you got going?
Yeah, so right now there's one drill operating on the project. We did have two. However, one drill's moved over to Encore's Dewey Terrace project just in the last week. So there's one rig active right now. We're going to continue with that rig, basically until we get chased out by the weather.
Right. So when's that? So end of October?
Yeah, we should be able to drill through into early November. Again, last year they were able to drill till mid to late December.
Right.
All just depends on the weather. And it is KC's a wonderful project because you are able to drill through the winter. However, it does get more challenging. There's more downtime. Costs do increase. So obviously, if we're onto a new discovery, we'll continue on. But again, we want to be prudent with our.
And how do you deal with that seasonality and the portfolio in getting that mix? What do you do when it's a little bit cold?
Yeah, so that's part of the reasons we're looking for incremental properties to bring into the portfolio. We do have our Boot Heel project as well. That will be we're doing all the preparatory work for a spring drill program there. And we're very excited about that. But yeah, we think that there's some other stuff that we could be working on over the course of the summer or the winter months that we can't quite talk about yet.
Right. Okay. And obviously, I think in a kind of primed market, I'll forget the equities because they're just dead everywhere at the moment. But in terms of access to capital and the way that one would go about financing, say, whether it be project work or acquisitions or, in whatever structure, whether it be JVs or whatever you get involved with, that type of money, I think, is available to the right teams. When you look at the market at the moment and you sort of look at all these new entrants coming in, picking up pieces of, well, let's say not so good stuff, it's a kind of salutary lesson of how not to do it. If you are profiling, picking up new assets and projects, etc., how do you profile that? What's important to you and what should be important to investors when they're looking at companies like you doing that sort of thing? Yeah,
for me, it's really about staying focused. So, really within the group, the core competencies are within ISR, mineable uranium assets in the U.S. We're not going to stray to, from that whatsoever. So that's sort of the ultimate stream that
hard rock coming down the line.
No, exactly. Okay. You don't have to worry about that.
So the benefits of ISR being a little bit, good margin usually.
Yeah,
typically,
absolutely low cost. Yeah.
Quicker to market, quite frankly, as well. And I guess if you've got the expertise where others haven't,
exactly, it's rapidity to market. So we can definitely help. And that's one thing that's coming out of the conference is everyone's very excited about the expansion of nuclear power, but questions starting to be asked by utilities as well as those focused on small modular reactors is where will the fuel sources be coming from? And that concern is starting to creep into the narrative a little bit. And that's really what we want to be. There's jurisdictions out there where you can make a discovery, but then you're looking at decades upon decades before it's actually going to come to market. We're really confident that, on a new greenfields discovery basis that, that triggers that 15 million pound back end that could be brought into production in a very short order, in 3 to 5 years.
It's interesting, actually, that your timing probably couldn't be more impeccable in that sense. You only have to go through the 10 years of pain. You're kind of hitting the market at the right time, because you're right. Most people have come here and talked to me about the fact that everyone understands the demand drivers and the increasing demand drivers across the board, right? We get it. We don't need to go there. Supply thing is slightly more of a concern, because restarts, well, they'll restart and then they'll kind of decline in terms of their production. Where's the new stuff coming from at scale? Can this bifurcation of market in terms of, pounds going east, pounds going west, where does the West get it from? You're in the US market. Is there any benefit to that for you at the moment, or will there be?
I think it's a huge strategic advantage, and really, if I look across the universe of comparable companies, there's very few who are focused on new greenfields discoveries in the U.S., and we really think that that's an incredible opportunity. We're filling a niche in the market, and we're going to get a lot of attention, with our ongoing drill programs, particularly at Casey, and then as we branch out into our other projects as well. So it's something that we will continue to be very aggressive on the exploration front, and with the target of making a new discovery that we can be brought to market in a realistic time frame.
Okay, well, you guys are ripping through it, so well done. Appreciate you coming in and giving us an update on
Definitely.
everything.
Really appreciate the time.
We'll make sure that we follow you with great interest.
Wonderful. We'll make sure to keep the market updated with many ongoing press releases on the drill results and other corporate activities.
Goodbye.
Thank you.